We're gonna start off with this half of a piece of leaf spring. If this looks like it's funnily cut, this because it was part of an arbalisk I was building a couple years ago. I couldn't get it to work, so it was just basically being a giant paperweight in my armory. So I decided I might as well take the steel and whatever else I can salvage off to make new stuff. So my basic plan is I'm gonna narrow it out, of course, which should stretch it out to make it the length I want. Of course, make this into a sword shape, and thin it out and give it a distal taper so that way it functions properly. And there should be enough steel here. Hopefully there's some extra, but I guess we'll have to throw it in the forge and find out. Okay, now that I have everything rough forged, I'm going to take my angle grinder, smooth out the shape so it's not, kind of lumpy. Then I'm going to, of course, make sure point is good. The tang is the shape I want it to be. Then I'm going to take my large angle grinder, smooth out the surface, and then start grinding the bevels. Now that I have the flats sanded down, I don't have it start polishing before heat treat. I'm going to do that after I grind the bevels in. I like doing that first just so that's a little more even. But I have it marked out. Basically, it's going to go from the center to there, which I've seen people take a drill bit and use that to mark the center. But since I forge in, there it is. Can't really tell, but this has a distal taper in it, so that really doesn't work. So I just kind of have to eyeball it and hopefully completely mess it up. But anyway, I'm just gonna take my angle grinder, start it out, and then go to the belt sander to smooth everything out. For the guard of this, I'm going to make it out of this 1/8 inch steel. This is out of those little divider things you see in work vans. So that's why it's got this paint on. I'm going to chuck it in a fire before I start dishing it out, so that way it's off. I've tried grinding this stuff off in the past and it just makes a huge mess, and it's just easier to throw on a respirator and burn it off. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to dish it out and then bend this part into kind of a guard. It is probably much larger than I need it, but I didn't know how big I was going to need it, so I just made it large, and I'll just cut it down the shape later. And I'm going to put a notch in so it'll fit about here on the sword. And then I'll forge the handle out of wood from there. So here I think I have the basic shape I'm going with for the handle. This I'm definitely going to do it. I don't quite know how I'm going to form the front of it. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is I'm just going to leave this flat, and then I'm just going to sand all of it to shape, so that way it fits to my hand better. Try not to knock everything over. That seems to be what I'm good at. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut. Actually, I'll probably cut this pretty square now that I think about it. Then I'm going to drill a hole going all the way through. Actually, I'll probably have to come in from both ends and kind of meet towards the middle. Then I'm going to heat the tang of the sword up until it's hot enough to melt off your skin without even being able to feel it. And then I'm just going to burn a perfect hole that fits the tang. I find this to actually be the easiest, the quickest, and actually the... it makes it fit a lot better than just cutting it and chiseling it like I used to do. So, yeah, I'm going to take my bandsaw here and cut my basic shape, and then, get my drill and do what I just explained what I'm going to do. So. So now that the slot is burned out for the hole, I'm going to cut my general shape. I'm still going to leave a bit of meat on it just because it's a sword handle and you want to make sure you have plenty to hold on to and don't want to take off too much too quick. Sorry about my lighting at the moment. It's starting to get dark out and the only lights I have on my bench are a little portable shop light, so sorry about that. Now that I have the handle, basic shape that I still have to sand and stain that, but I'll do that here in a bit. I'm gonna take this piece off of something. I don't know. It's about a 1/2 inch thick, probably just mild steel. But I'm gonna drill a hole in it and mount it back here. I'm gonna cut it down, of course. But I'm gonna drill the hole, trace it out so that way I have it to where it fits this perfectly, instead of cutting out and then trying to get a hole perfectly straight, because that never works. So yeah, it's actually coming along a lot faster than I thought it would. And the blade, really can't tell in this picture, but it's pretty straight. There's a little bit in the end that I'm gonna have to fix the sander, but it's rarely ever that good. So yeah, and I got this turned out pretty well. It's got some, I don't know, it's not gonna, I can't remember, there it goes. It's still kind of got the roughness. I thought about trying to smooth that out, but I really like the way that looks. And I think to go along with it, I'm gonna leave a lot of these on it. My door just blew open. Okay, there we go. And I'm just gonna sand off the oxidation from the tempering, so that way it still has a rough look, and I think give this cutlass some character to it. Okay, now that I have everything made up, I just have to put glue in the wood part of the handle. It took me way longer to come up with than it should have. And then just assemble all of it.